The following is a slightly historical series on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era of China's history. Because this is based off of a video game, and myself playing it, there will be a lot of incorrect information that we will correct using the help of Wikipedia. For those of you who want to learn more about Dynasty Warriors, or the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, I suggest reading the book. Please enjoy the following presentation. We're going to start off with my brother's favorite character, Ling Tong. The son of the Wu officer Ling Cao, he is quite skilled despite occasional lapses in judgment. He tends to love sarcasm and pranks. I don't know how true that is, because I can tell you Ling Tong was from Yuhang County, Wu Commandery. His father, Ling Cao, was a military officer serving under the warlord Sun Ce. I should also note that Ling Tong was born in the year 189. Ling Cao held the rank of colonel who defeats bandits and continued serving Sun Quan after Sun Ce's death in the year 200. In the year 203, Sun Quan attacked Huang Zhu, the administrator of Jiangsha Commandery. During the ensuing Battle of Jiakou, Ling Cao sailed alone a distance ahead on a small boat to infiltrate the enemy formation. Huang Zhu abandoned his position and fled. Ling Cao was killed in the midst of battle by a stray arrow fired by Huang Zhu's subordinate, Guan Yu. That is probably where we're going to be picking this up. Even though Ling Tong was only 14 at the time. I don't know if that's fighting age, but we'll see.
I'm Ling Tong, son of Ling Cao. Together we joined Wu and now serve our lord Sun Ce. I'm here to fight for the unification of the land. The chaos is part of the reason why I chose to fight. I figured it'd be better to have a world of peace than a world of chaos. And I also figured we'd be the best ones to make it happen. Our first battle is going to be recovering the Sun family's ancestral lands of Wu. We sure can't leave an important place like that all alone for others to take. Alright, let's go.
So in reality, this battle that we're going to be in, Ling Tong was probably too young to actually be a part of, and obviously wasn't there, but Ling Cao very much likely was.
Hey, Ling Tong. I'm going to go out and conquer the land for our people. It might take a while, but I hope you'll bear with me. First, we take Jiangdong and make the Wu territory ours. That is where my ancestors are from. There's no better place to begin our quest to unite the land. The enemy's loyalties are divided. If we can capture their bases, they're sure to join us. All right, let's go. It's time to put an end to this chaos.
We're ashore!
Oh. This land isn't bad. This is not a bad start for my first step towards ruling the land. All right, let's go.
I think they just put your character behind him.
Procure the...
We've driven out Liu Yang and secured a land to call our own. And as a bonus, we obtained some capable officers as well. I have no complaints. From now on, we'll use this territory of Wu in our quest towards unification of the land. Watch over me, Father. Before long, the Sun banner shall reach to the far corners of the continent.
Just when we recovered the lands of Wu, suddenly Lord Sun Ce just up and died. How can he just go and die after forcing his dreams on us like that? Well, you can't get anything done if you just sit around and be depressed. Sun Quan, our late lord's younger brother, became our new ruler. He took over where his brother left off, giving us a fresh start. The next battle is Jiakou, home to Huang Zhu, the man who killed Lord Sun Jian. Of course, he won't be alive for long. I'll make sure of that.
Ling Tong, we must overcome our grief over the loss of Sun Ce and proceed forward. Sun Quan is our new leader, and we must take a step towards creating a new world. Now we must go and defeat Huang Zhu at Jiakou. He is the one responsible for the death of our former lord, Sun Jian. We shall show him no mercy. We must break through the enemy's lines and avenge our fallen master.
So, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. This is the battle where Ling Tong's father dies from a stray arrow fired by Guan Yu.
As one might expect, the men who follow that lowly scoundrel are weak. But there is one exception, a well-known warrior by the name of Guan Yu. We must be careful not to let down our guard.
Ling Tong was 15 when this battle occurred. Again, probably wasn't at the battle, but his father definitely was.
Look out, wimps! Here comes Guan Yu! Killed by lowly pirates!
Father! Guan Yu, I swear your head will be mine!
Huh? Hey! What the heck is your problem?
Did you think you could escape the son of the man you murdered? Not even this world of chaos can hide you from my vengeance.
And that's why, for all of the times we were put on the right side of the map to play out this battle, we were put on the left side this time, so we can get that interaction with Guan Yu, who we are going to be playing as next, because you need to play as Ling Tong in order to unlock Guan Yu, which is a little sadistic.
We must attack our... Thanks to all of you, we have defeated Huang Zu and secured the lands of Yuan Shao. My father and brother would be proud of us all.
So this is kind of a large combined thing where, you know, early on in the skirmishes, Ling Tong's father died, and then there was the Battle of Jiangsha later. And here you see him say, "We have secured all the lands of Jiangxia." So to continue, Ling Tong was 15 when his father died. Sun Quan appointed Ling Tong as a major of separate command in consideration of the fact that Ling Cao died in service of the Sun family. As many spoke well of Ling Tong's ability, the teenager was allowed to inherit his father's post as acting colonel who defeats bandits and assume command of the troops which used to be led by his father. Ling Tong participated in a campaign against bandits in the hilly regions of Wu. Sun Quan's main force captured a bandit stronghold and left behind 10,000 men under the command of Ling Tong and Zhang Yi to lay siege to another stronghold. The day before the battle, Ling Tong and Chen Qin attended a banquet together. Chen Qin was in charge of the ceremonial duties during the banquet, but he abused his powers and went against the rules. Ling Tong was upset by Chen Qin's insolence, so he confronted him. In anger, Chen Qin hurled abuse at Ling Tong and even insulted Ling Tong's dead dad. Ling Tong was in tears, but he refrained himself and did not respond to the acrimony. After the banquet, Chen Qin, who was still drunk, insulted Ling Tong again on the road. Unable to tolerate the further swears, Ling Tong injured Chen Qin with his sword. Chen Qin died a few days later. The next day, before the battle, Ling Tong exclaimed, "Only through death can my transgression be cleansed." He charged ahead of his troops during the battle in the face of an enemy of arrows and boulders. The side of the garrison which Ling Tong's army attacked fell immediately. The other commanders were roused by his victory, and together they inflicted a crushing defeat on the bandits. After returning from the battle, Ling Tong bound himself and surrendered to the disciplinary officer. Sun Quan was impressed with Ling Tong's strong determination and pardoned him for insubordination in consideration of his contributions. After that, we continue to the proper Battle of Jiangxia in 208, 5 years later. In 208, Sun Quan attacked Huang Zhu at Jiangxia Commandery. Ling Tong was assigned as leader of the vanguard. He sailed in his boat far ahead of the main army with only tens of his closest men with him. and emerged victorious in the first engagement by slaying Huang Zhu's subordinate Zhang Shuo, and capturing all of Zhang Shuo's mariners with his much smaller force. He reported back to Sun Quan and led another attack on the enemy again, advancing both on land and on water. Knowing that Zhang Shuo had been slain and that the first line of defense had been broken, Huang Zhu scuttled two of his largest Mangchongs to block the entrance at the choke point of the Mian River, and sent his crossbowmen to station themselves to fire at any approaching enemy forces. In addition, Huang Zhu had strong men and archers ambushed on top of the cliff next to the river to throw down rocks and flaming debris. Sun Quan's forces firstly suffered great casualties and were unable to advance any further. Ling Tong and Dong Zhi, along with 100 commandos, donned 2 layers of armor each and charged the enemy despite the rain of rocks and arrows from the cliff and the fusillade from the vessels. They succeeded in breaking the connections between the two vessels after tough fighting, thus allowing Sun Quan's forces to break through and enter Miankou. Furthermore, the destruction of the Mengchongs actuated Sun Quan's forces' fighting spirit, and they emerged victorious in the next battle, in which Lu Meng defeated Huang Zhu's navy while Ling Tong captured Jiangsha. Sun Quan appointed Ling Tong as Commandant of Vehemence. And this is all while he's only 20 years old.
Now is the time to show our strength. Using these lands that father and brother worked so hard to establish as a base, we must further expand the territory of Wu.
It was nice that we could avenge Lord Sun Jian, but now my father died during the battle. I'm not too happy about this at all. It's like one big sick joke. To make things worse, Gan Ning, the guy who killed my father, has joined Wu as well. I hope they don't expect me to get along with this guy. No one cares about how I feel, and now we're getting ready for the next battle. It seems that we joined forces with Liu Bei and will be attacking Cao Cao at Chibi. Hooray.
Ling Tong, it is a pity what happened to your father, but there is no time to sit around and feel sorry about it. We must join forces with Liu Bei and face Cao Cao.
In late 208, the northern warlord Cao Cao launched a campaign aiming at wiping out opposing forces in southern China. He successfully pressured Liu Cong, who had succeeded Liu Biao as the governor of Jing, into surrendering. A few months later, Cao Cao assembled a force of 800,000 at Jiangling County, where countless warships and weapons were stored, and sent an envoy to intimidate Sun Quan to give up resistance. Sun Quan eventually hardened his decision to go to war with Cao Cao after Lu Su and Zhou Yu convinced him. He then formed an alliance with another warlord, Liu Bei, to resist Cao Cao. Ling Tong, under Zhou Yu's command, participated in the Battle of Red Cliffs, in which the combined armies of Sun Quan and Liu Bei dealt Cao Cao's massive fleet a crushing defeat at Wulin.
Cao Cao's giant navy is nothing to fear. If we manage to execute our strategies properly, then we shall be able to overcome it with little effort. Ling Tong, go and escort Zhuge Liang. Our fate is in the hands of the southeastern winds. You must protect him until he is able to call up the winds. This battle has us treading in very dangerous waters. If we are to defeat Cao Cao's army, it is absolutely essential that you complete your missions. Men, this river shall guide us to our future!
It is funny that, some characters, you get paragraphs and paragraphs about their involvements in battle, and then, right here, oh yeah, he was at the Battle of Red Cliff. I guess he didn't do anything special, because he didn't mention it.
The great river of Jiangdong runs red with the blood of Cao Cao's fleet. Who could have predicted the results of this battle? They shall surely talk about the exploits of our fleet for generations to come. With this defeat, the strength of Cao Cao's army has surely been weakened. This is the chance we've been waiting for. We must put a stop to Cao Cao before he has time to regroup.
After the Battle of Chibi, the land was divided in three, between Wu, Wei, and Shu. Everyone's saying that it's going to be a three-way fight from now on. That's when that good-for-nothing Liu Bei asked us to attack Wei at Hefei. I don't know why, but our lord agreed to it. Why should we go and help them?
So we are gonna skip to the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford. Between that, right after the Battle of Red Cliff, was the Battle of Jiangling, which represents, Cao Cao's escape from Chibi in this game at the very least. And we played through that the other day as Cao Ren. But following the Battle of Red Cliffs, Zhou Yu led Sun Quan's forces to attack Nan-Commandery, which was defended by Cao Cao's general, Cao Ren. Zhou Yu sent Gan Ning to guard Yi Ling, but Cao Ren ordered his subordinates to attack Yi Ling later. Gan Ning was under siege, so he requested aid from Zhou Yu, who followed Lu Meng's plan to leave Ling Tong behind to defend their position, while Zhou Yu and the other generals would lead reinforcements to help Gan. Ling Tong was left alone to engage the enemy in battle for about 10 days under numerical disadvantage, but he managed to triumph against the odds by holding his ground firmly while his comrades were away. The battle dragged on until Cao Ren was eventually ordered to abandon Nan-Commandery, resulting in the capture of the commandery by Sun Quan's forces. Ling Tong was promoted to a colonel for his achievements in this battle. Ling Tong later moved east and followed Lu Meng and Gan Ning to attack Cao Cao's garrison at Wan County. They succeeded in conquering it. He was promoted to General of the Household who defeats bandits and was appointed as the Chancellor of Pei. In 215, Ling Tong joined Lu Meng in capturing Liu Bei's three commanderies of Changsha, Lingling, and Guiyang. Later, they returned to Yiyang to counter an army led by Liu Bei's general Guan Yu, who was advancing south in an attempt to retake the lost commanderies. The territorial dispute was eventually resolved when both Sun Quan and Liu Bei agreed to divide Jing between their respective domains along the Jiang River. So, a little disappointing that we're not getting the escape from Chibi battle in this, section of the game. But, we are skipping to the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford, and then I don't know how much more after that we are gonna have. But there is an excerpt about his conflict with Gan Ning. Ling Tong had never forgiven Gan Ning for killing his father, Ling Cao. Gan Ning was always on the defensive against Ling Tong, and he tried to avoid meeting Ling whenever possible. Sun Quan also ordered Ling Tong to not seek vengeance on Gan Ning. Despite so, the two of them nearly exchanged blows in an incident during a banquet held in Lu Meng's house. When Ling Tong was performing a sword dance to entertain the guests, Gan Ning stood up and said, "I can also perform with my pair of ji." Lu Meng told Gan Ning, "You may be good in performing, but you aren't as good as me." He then drew his sword and carried a shield and stood between Ling Tong and Gan Ning to separate them. When Sun Quan heard about this, he reassigned Gan Ning to another garrison. So it's like, all right, these guys are great generals, but we cannot have them together. They hate each other. After reaffirming his alliance with Liu Bei, Sun Quan personally led an attack on Hefei, which was defended by Cao Cao's general Zhang Liao, in order to divert Cao Cao's attention away from Hanzhong Commandery. Ling Tong served as the commander of the right section during this campaign.
Fighting battles for other people. To make things worse, Gan Ning is fighting in this one too. I don't feel too good about it, but I guess there's nothing I can do about it either.
We will soon invade the Wei territory of Hefei. Ling Tong, I understand what you're feeling. We have to focus our attention on defeating Wei. Cao Cao is the one we are after. Additionally, we must watch out for Zhang Liao, who's guarding He Fei. However, I don't see him anywhere. I wonder what's going on.
So like I've mentioned in a lot of previous episodes, this battle here, He Fei, represents the entire, process of trying to siege and capture this place, while Zhang Liao and the other elite generals try to, defend it. The major part of the battle, the big storylines coming out after the Battle of He Fei and at the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford. At the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford, Sun Quan's other divisions retreated while Sun Quan himself remained behind with only 1,000 men and a few officers, including Lu Meng, Jiang Qin, Ling Tong, and Gan Ning. When Zhang Liao saw that, he immediately led his troops out of He Fei to launch a counterattack and completely took Sun Quan by surprise.
Currently, the enemy is few and the defenses are thin. However, those that remain are veterans of many hard-fought battles. You must not underestimate the strength of their resolve.
Don't look so down, Ling Tong. In this battle, we have the advantage.
We are attacking Wei at Shu's request? Why must we help them?
But, for our sake as well, we must capture He Fei and stop Wei's march south. Gan Ning, you are the key to this battle. Got it?
Right. Leave it to me.
Are you sure your ship can carry the weight of your thick skull?
There it is.
Forward for honor! With my spear, I will sever the threads of Wu's destiny!
When Zhang Liao counterattacked, he completely took Sun Quan by surprise.
Rebuild the camp.
Sun Quan wanted to recall the divisions which had retreated first, but realized they could not return in time. Ling Tong led 300 men to break into the enemy encirclement to rescue his lord, which I will do as soon as I take this base.
You're no match for the strength and skill of Zhang Liao.
So like I said, Ling Tong,
I shall show
during Zhang Liao's attack, oh, I did not want to get up on a horse. During Zhang Liao's counterattack, Sun Quan was very much surprised, taken off guard. Ling Tong led 300 men to rescue Sun Quan.
I would rather...
Without the bridge.
You need a bridge? If you really wanted to, you could jump this river.
Father! Brother! Lend strength to my ambition!
After Sun Quan managed to escape by making his horse jump across the broken bridge and reach the other side, Ling Tong returned to the battlefield and continued to fight on and slay dozens of enemies. He sustained several wounds all over his body and all of his men were killed. He only retreated when he assessed the situation and concluded that Sun Quan was safe. As the bridge had already been destroyed, Ling Tong waded through the water with his armor on.
have brought your allies with you.
And I don't want to get back on the damn horse. Waded through the water with his armor on. Sun Quan had already boarded a ship and he was surprised and delighted to see Ling Tong still alive. Ling Tong was very saddened as all of his close aides had died and he could not contain his sorrow. Sun Quan wiped Ling Tong's tears and said, "Gongji, let the dead go. As long as you live, why worry that you will have no men under you?" As Ling Tong's injuries were very severe, they pulled him on board. And Sun Quan gave him a change of clothing. With the aid of quality medicine, Ling Tong managed to survive. He was promoted to Lieutenant General and given twice the number of troops he originally commanded.
We have gained the right to rule this land. Although we were unable to kill Cao Cao, the Wei army will not soon forget the lesson we taught them in this battle. Should we use this momentum to crush Cao Cao? Or perhaps we should break our alliance and attack Liu Bei? Or perhaps our next move will surely determine the fate of the land.
The Battle of Hefei ended in victory for us. But I think something may have changed in me while I was out there. I was actually impressed with Gan Ning's efforts. He uses his head out there while he's fighting, which makes me look even worse, I guess. I don't care for that too much either, but I think I'm going to move on and forget about the past. It might even help my cause. All right, it's time to get going and fight for the sake of our future.
That does kind of line up with what I said earlier, where Sun Quan said to him, "Let the dead go. As long as you live, why worry that you will have no men under you?"
Ling Tong, we shall defeat the spiteful Liu Bei at Yiling. I shall serve as the commander of our forces for this battle. Liu Bei appears to want to try to surround our army and destroy us. We should prepare a fire and use it to even the odds against their much larger army.
Unfortunately, Ling Tong was not at this battle, and instead died before this battle even occurred. During his journey to the Shanyue territories, Ling Tong passed by his hometown and stopped there for a visit. He treated... Thank you for the bits. I forgot to mute my sound alerts, so I'll just restart what I was saying. But during his journey to the Shanyue territories, Ling Tong passed by his hometown and stopped there for a visit. He treated the townsfolk with the utmost respect and humility, even though he had achieved fame and glory. He died of illness on the return journey at the age of 28. When Sun Quan heard of Ling Tong's death, he was filled with grief for several days. In recognition of Ling Tong's contributions to his regime, Sun Quan ordered Zhang Chong to write a eulogy for Ling Tong. Before that, though, they were attempting to pacify the Shanyue, which I did in a recent episode mention, like, oh, maybe them fighting Dong or Meng Huo and the Nanman people are supposed to represent them pacifying the Shanyue tribes, which Ling Tong was successful in those campaigns as well, but contracted an illness and died on the way home from there, which is very, very sad considering he was only 28 years old and he was such a strong general. But let's continue this.
Zhu Ran's unit is supposed to use a bridge layer and set fire to the enemy camp. Wait for that moment and focus on defense until it comes. Victory for Wu is close at hand.
Lu Xun, the very future of Wu hangs on officers like yourself.
Lu Xun, I have faith in you. Unite this land under the name of Wu.
Zhou Yu, Lu Meng. I shall carry on. With your passion and your spirit.
Heh, I never thought you'd rely on me to protect your back.
You think I enjoy this? It's not easy having to clean up after a reckless brute like you.
Ah! Fancy way to say you're having trouble keeping up.
Jeez, where'd you learn to be such a jerk?
An army raised on anger is doomed to fail. If you live by your emotions, then you shall die by your emotions. It truly is a fitting end for Liu Bei. Thanks to this battle, we managed to increase our power while rendering Shu powerless. All that remains is Wei, who is of no real threat to us. The day of a land ruled by Wu is close at hand.
It was during the final days of the year 200 AD when the Han Dynasty saw its end. Its demise ushered in a new era of chaos, brought on by several regional lords vying to rule China. There were those who sought absolute power, as well as those who fought for justice, and some simply fought for the sake of their beliefs. Many would rise and fall in their attempts to dominate the land. Ling Tong from the Wu territory. The son of the Wu general Ling Cao, Ling Tong accompanied his father to the battlefield and learned the art of war from a very early age. Ling Cao was slain in Yuan Shao by Gan Ning. Devastated at the loss of his beloved father, Ling Tong overcame his grief and swore to avenge him. Gan Ning eventually joined Wu after the Battle of Jian Sha. However, Ling Tong's rage did not cease, and the two would often quarrel. Although Ling Tong avoided Gan Ning, the two were often sent out on the same missions. Gan Ning's valor was impressive, and several times he saved Ling Tong's life.
That is true. I will read that excerpt after this cutscene is over.
After observing Gan Ning's prowess, Ling Tong had no other choice but to acknowledge his valor. When it came time to confront Liu Bei's armies, his feelings of rage had all disappeared. After fighting together in countless battles, the two eventually became very close friends. Their bond brought great strength to Wu and took them one step closer to unifying the land.
And one of our huskies is crying.
These tales, long forgotten in the flows of time, are about the legends of which no one can recall.
So like I mentioned, there is an excerpt in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel itself where at the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford, when Ling Tong engages Yue Jin in a duel, Cao Zhu fires an arrow that hits Ling Tong's horse and causes Ling Tong to fall off the horse's back. Just as Yue Jin moves in for the kill, he suddenly gets hit by an arrow in the face. Both sides immediately rush forth to rescue their respective generals and withdraw their forces after that. Later, Ling Tong is surprised to learn that Gan Ning was the one who saved him. He kneels down and thanks Gan Ning for saving his life and begs for forgiveness. Gan Ning forgives him. Since then, Ling Tong forgets his past feud with Gan Ning and they became close friends after the Battle of Xiaoyao Ford. And now we unlock Gan Ning.
You still haven't had enough yet?
No, sorry, but I can't rest until I've destroyed you completely.
They're gonna play Go.
You think you can take me?
Oh,
I think you just might have me this time.
Oh.
That's cute. I was gonna say, are you gonna put Star over here? Oh, okay. And that is the story of Ling Tong. Very unfortunate to have such an early demise. But such is life under the great shogun. As we get into the next episode, we're going to be playing as the guy we just unlocked, Guan Ning, former pirate